In the AI era that we're entering here, a lot of people mid-career are going to have to reinvent themselves and using because of AI, but also using AI. And I'm going to talk about how I've done that at the age of 40 and how you can too in this video. I was a writer and director in the Hollywood film industry in the US. I wrote and directed my first movie, came out in 2019. And on Amazon Prime, Apple TV. And then I was going to direct my second movie in 2020. COVID happened in 2020, obviously, and pandemic shut down the whole industry, and my movie ended up getting canceled. And I saw that the industry wasn't going to come back in the same way, and that I needed to make a big change and reinvent myself. And I was turning 40 at the time, so that is scary, obviously, to reach 40 and then be like, I gotta start over, essentially. So I was been figuring out for the last years, and then over the last year or year and a half, the AI tools started to really pop off, right? ChatGPT, I think, came out about a year and a half ago. And once I saw what was coming with that, or what was going to be possible, it clicked for me. That's where I needed to invest my time to learn the new skills and use the tools. And because what's going to happen is that AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. It's going to take a lot of jobs. Anything that can be given instructions for, a step-by-step guide to this is how you do the job, you can just give that guide to an AI and then it'll do the job. So that's going to take a lot of people's jobs. And that being said, it will also enhance certain jobs. And so the difference is going to be whether you're adding something that the AI can't do. In other words, you're adding some unique creativity to whatever the job or role is. And the important thing to master now, or continue to master if you've already mastered it, is unique creative skills, meaning your ability to conceive of stories, visuals, communication, anything that is you're bringing something of you to the table, and it's not just something that can be recreated by the AI. And the point of this is that you need to bring something the AI is not going to bring, or it'll do it, and no one's going to need you. So I'll give my example. So having developed this skill set of writing and directing movies, I've really developed my storytelling skills, and both in the written form and the visual medium, right, because of film. So those skills I'm now using AI tools to make videos for clients, but those skills are essential. It's the reason I'm making the good videos, right? It's not that I've become amazing at using the AI tools. Like, it's not that skill set. The skill set that's making a difference is my storytelling skill set that I developed over 15, 20 years. So that's my skill set, my creativity, and also my just style and my voice that I also developed is what's making the difference. And it's why people are coming to me to make the videos, because actually I'm not the greatest at the AI tools, like getting into all the little settings and all that. I'm just not, it's not worth my time really to get so good at the tools, because the tools are changing so fast. So in order to really be great at the tools, you have to just be on it, and like every update, you got to get back in and figure out how to get good at the new update or a totally new tool that comes out, right? And it's not worth it for me, because that's going to ultimately be a large waste of time. Again, not to get competent at them, that I am doing that, but I just mean like really trying to become excellent at this particular version of this particular tool, when it's just going to change. It's changing so fast. And what's happening is the tools are just going to get easier and easier to use, right? Because the companies that make the tools, the easier they make them to use, the more people will use them, and the more money they make. So the tools are only going to get easier. So that's why I'm like, I'm not even worried about it. You don't have to become a prompt expert and what have you, and because it'll just get easier. And more and more you'll just be able to describe what you want in casual, just regular English language. You don't have to know all these little tricks with the prompts, and it'll make it for you, right? You don't even have to type it if you don't want. You'll just be able to tell it already. But point being is, where I have an advantage is the storytelling, both written and visual. And so that's the thing that I'm still focused on getting better at, right? Not just because I've developed a skill set, I'm not done. That's where my focus is still on getting better at that. And the tools, yeah, that's just the focus, but of course, getting good enough at them that I can use them and make videos. So obviously that took some time, but honestly, it doesn't take, if you haven't really dived in yet to say something like a Mid-Journey for images or a Runway for videos, and a bunch of other ones obviously are out and are coming out. If you haven't dived into those, don't be intimidated. Like, just start using it. Trust me, it's not that hard. And I'll give you a tip that I use for when I want to make a prompt for a Mid-Journey to create an image. I'll ask one of the large language models, ChatGPT or Claude. I'm actually using Claude a lot more these days. I'll just ask it to write the prompt. I'll say, hey, this is what I want. I'll give a description of what I want, and then I'll say, you write the Mid-Journey prompt, and it'll write a better Mid-Journey prompt than I could. So I just use that. So that's a tip for you. It's easier. And then, but anyway, let's get back to you and what you need to do is, first of all, you got to identify what your unique creative skill set is, or the one you want it to be. And let's say you are in a job that is likely to be replaced, meaning something that has to do with data or calculations, accounting, or whatever, something that's not particularly creative. No offense, it's not an insult, just there are different types of jobs. And so let's say you're in something and you're like, well, I think I might get replaced by AI, but I don't necessarily have a strong creative skill set of any kind. Choose something that appeals to you. And a good place to look is when you were younger, like when you were a kid. Was there something that you did creatively that you were into? Whether that's drawing, maybe it's Dungeons and Dragons, which goes to storytelling. Maybe it's visual art, anything, right? Even games, like video games or something that involves strategy, it involves storytelling, right? So don't think too literally. It's more, what was the creativity involved in that? Even if you like to play make-believe games with your friends where you're playing different characters out in the woods or backyard or whatever, that there's creativity there, there's storytelling involved, there's imagination, right? Don't be so scared if you don't have the strong skill set already. Just start developing it, and it's going to work better if it's something you like, and if you did it as a kid, that kind of shows that you have a natural inclination toward it. So that's always a good place to look for clues, and ask your parents, like, because you might not remember as a kid what you were really into, and sometimes your parents are like, oh yeah, you used to be out in the backyard all the time playing like you were a knight in medieval times or something. Like, your parents might actually be helpful to remind you of some of the things you were into as a kid. Anyway, you get the point. And start developing the creative skill set, whatever that looks like. Look for YouTube videos. Frankly, it's like basically the best place for education nowadays. YouTube videos, but also go to look at classics, books. Certainly for storytelling, I think great stories are better to learn from than books on how to tell a great story. So in other words, reading great novels, watching great movies. Those, I think, are better. It's certainly for me. And I read a ton of how to write screenplays, how to make movies, how to tell stories. I read a ton of those books. But for me, what's more helpful is actually studying great stories. And the same goes for anything, whether it's visual art or any sort of whatever the thing is, like looking at the great examples, studying them and breaking them down. To me, that's going to be more helpful than the how-to guides, because how-to guides, and this goes even, I'm not just talking about art, how-to guides of like how to write good copy and how to make a video sales letter or any of how to do with social media posts and videos, like all the how-to guides that are for how to doing something creative. They can be helpful, but they end up you just sound the same as everyone else because you're filling in this fill in the blanks guide. And so it sounds similar, and ultimately that's what the AI is doing also. And so you're just going to sound like the AI, and there's just going to be a ton of AI generated content, already is, but way more coming. And you're not going to stand out because you're just too similar, right? Because the AI is going to read all these guides and they're going to follow them. So my advice is read some of them just to see that angle on it and see how they break it down, but study the greats of whatever you're trying to do and then add your style, learn from their style, and then add your own style to it. That's my advice for that. But point is that just start working on your creative skill set. And for example, I told you that, yes, I developed a storytelling skill set, but one thing I'm working on right now is my speaking communication. So these videos, I've been doing these, you can look on my YouTube channel. I've been making these videos daily for 2 months now, and they're not particularly, look at the production value, right? It's not great. They're not particularly polished, as you can see by the way I'm talking. I'm not reading a script. But the point is more, I'm just trying to more develop on my communication because I've developed my writing skills. And so I could write a really good script for these, and maybe I will in the future. But right now what I'm focusing on is just the developing speaking skills, because the human speaking is not going to be replaced by AI. Yes, there will be human looking avatars that are speaking. There'll be plenty of videos, there already are plenty of videos of human looking avatars speaking. And there'll be use for them, of course, but there's just still going to be a desire to talk to a human or to hear a human speak. And there's going to be a meaningful interaction or experience from a human speaking. And I don't think that will be replaced by AI. Again, a lot of speaking will be, like if you have to deal with, you're calling customer service or any kind of representative for a company, there's going to be a lot of AI agents for sure, but there's still going to be a need for human speakers. So that's one thing I'm working on developing with these videos, as well as doing here in Bali, where I live now. I'm doing improv comedy. I did a one-man show that was stand-up comedy plus storytelling, and I'm doing some other speaking things. So point is, I'm working on my speaking performance and whatnot, which I think won't be replaced by AI, even though AI will be doing some of that stuff also. So just giving you some other examples of stuff I'm working on to develop my unique creative skill set and human. I keep using the word creative, but also I would also call it human. Like, what can a human do? What's very human that an AI can't do? So things like empathy, deeper connection, these are going to be not something the AI can fully replace. To a certain extent, it will learn to mimic and grasp what people classify as empathy. They'll read all the books from various psychologists, etc., describing what empathy is and all that, and it'll mimic it. And there will be some impact of that, right? Like for the AI therapists or whatever, which are going to be a thing. But there's still going to be a need for that real human connection, which involves empathy, it involves presence, it involves energy. And so those are other things to develop. I know I love the word creative, and that's an all-inclusive thing, but I would really think about human also. And that's why I'm saying I'm doing live speaking. And if you develop like empathy, like really being able to listen and see someone, that's again going to be something the AI is not going to be able to replicate. Develop those skills as well. And just on that note, those skills are becoming rarer in humans as everybody's getting addicted to the phone and spending so much time in the phone and being distracted by the phone, and everyone is less and less present. I'm sure you've noticed this, that people are less present. They're listening less to each other, right? They're They're checking their phone more. They're distracted because of that. And meaning that the skill set of really listening, really being present, really hearing someone and seeing someone is becoming rare amongst humans. And so that's just another reason to actually work on that and develop it and focus on that. And one thing you're going to have to do is put away the fucking phone. Just being real. The phone will consistently pull you away from the present. Consistently. Even if you're not looking at it. Even if it's in your pocket. If it's on the table. And they've done studies on this where they give people intelligence tests and working memory tests. And if the phone's on the desk or even in the pocket or in the bag next to them, scores go down. If they put it in another room, scores go up. You got to get away from the phone to develop these skill sets. And also even creative skill sets. The reason I'm able to write long, like movie scripts or long stories is because I'm able to sit there and focus for a long time. And I put the phone in the other room and I sit there and focus. And so you got to get the phone away from you if you want to really develop any kind of creative skill set, because it takes a lot of focus and time, a lot of time focusing. And also what I'm saying about being present and listening, that also requires the phone away. There's my little soapbox speech about phones. I didn't quite plan to end the video on that. But to wrap it up, AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. And the best way to prepare and avoid being replaced or made irrelevant, right? Even if you might work for yourself, and not have a job that would be replaced, but you're going to be made irrelevant by AI itself or people using AI that have their own unique creative skill set and then are empowered by AI, so they're be able to do things faster, cheaper by themselves, where previously they needed a team. And so you got to become that. You got to become the AI-powered creative, which has your own unique creative skill set and or human skill set, and your human skill set, but then be using AI tools to power you, to be able to make things faster, quicker, cheaper, and things you couldn't even make before, like movies, which you couldn't make an Avatar type movie by yourself before. You will be able to in the future. So thanks for tuning in, and tune back in tomorrow for the next video.